Going back, let's look at readmission. 1992, William Toller wins the New York Marathon. 1993, Oliver Yawa wins the Berlin Marathon. 1996, the first black Olympic medalist, Ezekiel Sepeng, over 800 meters. Josiah Tugwane wins the Olympic marathon. If you go back to the year 2016, I remember being at the airport when Wade van Niekerk and Akani Simbine came home from Rio in 2016. You were all there. I remember Isaacson.
For example, long jump, which is not measured with a tape electronically, so we have a whole system which is connecting to that. Otherwise, we don't fulfill the requirements of World Athletics for a silver label or even a gold label, so it has to prescribe to that. That is one part. So there's obviously more than one camera on the finish line to make sure that the times are correct.
I feel in the atmosphere that the athletes are ready to do something great. South Africa has been knocking for a while, waiting for that opportunity where we can actually host competitions of this stature. And I mean, a continental tour silver, which is the one that we're hosting here, is a great opportunity.
The results are also live on World Athletics. That's a requirement for silver label. Other than that, there must be 12 events at the athletics, at least 5 female events, and again, at least one jumps, one throw event per gender, which is a requirement.
I'm gonna introduce to you guys the MC for the evening. He said I must mention this statistic here. He's got a sub 40 minute on a 10K. We'll start with that. But he's also a voice of athletics, a voice of cross country, voice of road running. If you've heard the term or the phrase, halala, it is time, then you know it is Musuburi Whitehead.
Thank you, Temba, for the wonderful introduction. And I heard some sniggers when I was introduced as a sub 40 minute 10K athlete. That doesn't inspire many. But Madima is someone who I've always looked up to, given how versatile he is. And he himself is a multiple finalist at the SA Champs over 800 meters. He'll return in a little while just to talk about his role here, along with a few others that have made this wonderful initiative possible, and will look to take it to the next level, global standard of track and field in South Africa. As Ezekiel Sepeng walks in, I want to ask for the music to be turned down just slightly. In fact, completely off. And I think Sepeng has perfect timing. If we were about to dish up, he'd be walking in right now. So, and the reason why he walks in, let's go back a little bit. He's older like some of us are. By show of hands, anyone born here before 1980? So born in the 1970s or the 1960s? Raise your arm. Don't be shy. Not everyone gets to grow old. You are blessed. So those are those in the 70s and 60s. Those born in the 1980s, please raise your hand. Okay. For that group of people, and maybe someone who's born like 1991, for that group of people, which also includes me, we believed that if you were going to be a successful athlete in South Africa and reach the highest echelons of performance anywhere in the world, not forgetting that we lived through apartheid, it was believed that you had to do one of two things. A, you had to be a middle or long distance runner. B, if you weren't a middle or long distance runner, preferably from one of South Africa's homelands or maybe a township, then you would have to be a woman, probably Afrikaans, coming from either somewhere like Pretoria, back then, or the Cape. And I say that because if you look at the success of South Africa's history, going back, let's look at readmission. 1992, William Toller wins the New York Marathon. 1993, Oliver Yawa wins the Berlin Marathon. 1996, the first black Olympic medalist, Ezekiel Sepeng, over 800 meters. Josiah Tugwane wins the Olympic marathon. Ilana Meyer, 1992, wins silver at the Olympic Games in Barcelona. And all the names, Colleen de Reuck and so forth. But it took a change somewhere for South Africans in particular to believe that you could make it in something outside the middle distances or the long distances. If you go back to the year 2016, I remember being at the airport when Wade van Niekerk and Akani Simbine came home from Rio in 2016. You were all there. I remember Isaacson, Wesley and them were actually at the Olympics and witnessed that magical moment in Rio. But before 2016, South Africa had never, ever had an Olympic finalist, male, over 100 meters.
They have. Walker won it back then. You won it before your time.
Yeah, but that's why I've said I'm starting with 1992, readmission. Remember, I mentioned apartheid. So, yeah. So from 1992, because there are debates and we can have them about, what kind of South Africa it was before 1992. And the reason I mention that is because the resurgence that we're seeing, or certainly the birth in success over different disciplines, has come in large part because of the events that have taken place in the last 10 to 15 years. So picture this. In 2016, Wade van Niekerk is running where he's running. Bayanda Walaza, born 2006, is 10 years old. Bradley Nkwana is 11 years old. Sean Maswangai is 15 years old. They are watching Akani Simbine in an Olympic final, the first of a democratic South Africa over 100 meters, and Wade van Niekerk setting a world record to win gold. That was a moment when a generational mindset for many people changed. That all of a sudden, those of us who were born in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, who believed that you had to be middle distance, you had to be long distance to compete against the very best in the world if you were from South Africa, the youngsters said, no, hold on, what's Wade van Niekerk doing? So that which we saw in 2016 has its roots in 2009. And for you and I, who were born at that time, remember Caster Semenya in Berlin. Remember this moment. At just 19 years old, South Africa had never won a women's middle distance medal at the Olympic Games or the World Championships. And here it was, out of nowhere, in Berlin, Caster Semenya went on to announce herself to the world. This 800-meter medal in 2009 was to be the beginning of an avalanche of success at the World Championships and Olympic Games over different disciplines and distances for South Africa. Because following Caster Semenya in 2009, then the belief began in truth. And remember this moment. Simon Mahakwe, the first South African to break 10 seconds over 100 meters. Before that, they said, it's impossible. You have to be American. You have to be Jamaican. You have to be from Europe even. That 999 on that day was later rounded down to 998. And the man from Rustenburg, Simon Mahakwe, started a tradition of sub 10 second running that has found its very purest and highest form in South Africa's Mr. Cool, Mr. Consistency, Akani Simbine. The middle distances, this is what we're talking about. Johan Cronje, Moscow 2013, just about to retire, a little bit fat, he said it himself, and felt that he was past his best years. He was in 8th and 9th at the back straight, and he took bronze that day. And that was South Africa's only medal at those World Championships in Moscow. On the very last day of competition, it was Johan Cronje. And this is the magic moment, isn't it? The moment watched by 9, 10, 8, 11 and 12-year-olds around South Africa. And since then, we saw an explosion of 400-meter athletes like never before. The world's best, and they're here with us today. The man who believed he could do it from lane 8 did it. And his world record has stood for almost a decade now. The long jump has always been a successful discipline for South Africa, and the lists of medalists goes back a long way. Luvo Manyoga, probably the highest exponent of that, given his success at the Commonwealth Games, the World Championships, and of course, that silver medal at Rio 2016. But it was always felt that the one discipline that could bring all of this together in a team effort was likely to be the 4x100 meter relay, at which luck simply deserted us. Or maybe we were waiting for the right anchor man, the man who now, a little bit older and a little bit wiser, led South Africa to success at the World Relays, and of course, in 2024, at the Olympic Games in Paris. Akani Simbine then has traversed that entire generation. He was there at the beginning. He is still here today. And with Akani and Wade, who was there last year, South Africa have seen the birth of a new tradition of track and field. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once more for Akani Simbine as we unveil the Simbine Classic Continental Tour. Go to a track and field event in South Africa, especially a schools one, without seeing this man and his team there. They make it run like clockwork, and whenever we sit and complain about the fact that the event is running late, it's running behind time, and we need to be out of here by 6:30, they somehow seem to put it back. They have a fabulous team. They are called the team, but I think they should be called the A-team. And they are led by a man who has engineered the success of many of South Africa's schools, Prestige College, Help Mekar, and lately, he's also involved in the success of Curo Hazeldean. Please put your hands together for the event director of the Simbine Classic, Mr. Marnus Hendricks. The soft-spoken Marnus Hendricks, and he is a wealth of knowledge. And lastly, he wears many hats and is one of South Africa's longest-serving journalists, specifically on track and field and what is termed the Cinderella sports. This is a man whom I first met him working for SAPA many years ago, the South African press agency. This time around, he works as the media manager for Backtrack. Please put your hands together for Mr. Wesley Botten. Wesley also in charge of all the media for the Simbine Classic. And I think we should all have a microphone. Oh, we do have one. Thank you. We'll start with you, Ndati Madima. In simple terms, good afternoon. What is this Simbine Classic about? I've just stolen people's precious 10 minutes, sharing a story of a generation. What is this Simbine Classic all about?
Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks, Musiwori. I think the most important thing is, when we look at athletics in South Africa, where South African athletics is, the resurgence of athletics in South Africa, there's a lot, that you can feel in the atmosphere that the athletes are ready to do something great. South Africa has been knocking for a while, waiting for that opportunity where we can actually host competitions of this stature. And I mean, a continental tour silver, which is the one that we're hosting here, is a great opportunity. Not only for the athletes here that always have to travel overseas and book tickets with the managers. The managers and the agents are always, making sure that they have to have accommodation, food, make sure that everything on the other side of the world is running perfectly. But now, instead of having to travel all the way out of the world to other parts of the world, Europe or other parts of the world, America, Asia as well, right here at home in South Africa, they have an opportunity to run at a meeting that is in their home town, in their home country for some of the athletes. But it's also just an opportunity to showcase their talent whilst not having to travel and deal with the technicalities and also the challenges that come with traveling.
All the logistics, and importantly, to earn world ranking points.
Absolutely. They've got an opportunity, instead of traveling abroad, right here on South African soil, to get those important points as well. Qualification comes in different stages. There's the times, obviously, that they need to run. There's obviously rankings, the world ranking points that also plays a part. So now they have an opportunity to get those much higher points than they would get running at a local league or any other competition in South Africa.
So in simple terms, if I get out there and run 9-9 in a CGA championship meet, and I get out there and run 9-9 in the Simbine Classic, I get more points because that is a World Athletics silver label. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's recognized, obviously, much higher competition and the standards of the competition. To host a competition such as this one, it comes with a lot of work. That's why the team up here, we've got some of the best.
Let's call him in here. Let's call this man next to you because he was nodding his head here, Marnus Hendricks. Marnus, how is this different? How is this different from being at Pilditch and listening to Diere at Meiswilge, Mark, and enjoying track and field for kids? Isn't it the same thing? We've got events happening on a track. The track is certified. Why should this be different, and how is it different?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So how it is different is that if we look at South African athletics, the schools are extremely well organized, and the athletes on high school level have got a lot of opportunities. But when we go to senior level, we have like Kira Akani Classic Shootout at the Kira Podium, and then a few other events which ISA is hosting, which is the Grand Prix. But again, like Themba said earlier, they don't earn as much points as a silver label, and that makes it possible for athletes from South Africa and the neighboring countries to come here, earn points instead of going to Europe to get a lot of points. But it's also a prestige event for the athletes, and to honor the athletes in a way. This is something which is in South African soil the first time, and this gives them an opportunity to get a lot of points, but also exposure. And we as South Africans, we can also make or deliver on great events and compare ourselves to the rest of the world. We should not stand back for anyone.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you mentioned there, prestige, an important word. The gentleman at the back, and I think he says it was before my time, he's probably right, but I think one thing he and many will remember is if you see photos, for example, of, let's use Pilditch because we've spoken about it, in a track and field event in 1960, let's say, for the Dream Mile, I always look at those photos and see how full it was of people coming out to watch a Dream Mile. Or even if we go back to more recently, the 1980s, you remember Matthews Timane going head-to-head against Johan Fourie, and it would be absolutely packed. So that prestige, I guess is what you're mentioning, is somewhat waned from senior athletics, because when we go to a Grand Prix event, maybe the stands are a little bit empty, and maybe the vibe isn't there in the same way that it is at the schools. So what are your responsibilities as the team, as Marnus Hendricks and his team?
So, what we are responsible for is to make sure, for example, that the timing system is working, that it complies to World Athletics rules, for example, fast of a false detective system where the starting blocks must be connected. But we have devices, for example, long jump, which is not measured with a tape electronically. So we have a whole system which is connecting to that. Otherwise, we don't fulfill the requirements of World Athletics for a silver label or even a gold label. So it has to prescribe to that. That is one part. So there's obviously more than one camera on the finish line to make sure that the times are correct. And all the procedures in terms of call room, the data which is sent to call room to be live with World Athletics. For example, there will be a website where the results are live, but it also is, just in short, I'm not going to bore everyone with the technical requirements, but one of them, for example, that the results are also live on World Athletics. That's a requirement for silver label. Other than that, there must be 12 events at the athletics. At least 5 female events, and again at least one jumps, one throw event per gender, which is a requirement for a silver label. That is more or less the technical part. Then the other part is organizing the event to fill the criteria in terms of officiating, and also in terms of organizing the event with the joke application, with the medical support, prescriptive physio support. For example, there must be physios at the event. So all the things which is technically taking place at the event is like a Kira podium or a A-bond Interai. The silver event is basically a podium or a A-bond on steroids, for example, in a different higher level.
Okay.
So, and then obviously managing the crowd and the schools coming to watch. It will definitely be a prestigious event. The schools will be very interested in attending this, as well as the parents of the athletes, etc.
He mentions women's events, he mentions throws and jumps. It goes back to what we're talking about. If I want to organize, for example, an event, recently Ethiopia have been quite excited that they have also been added to that World Athletics calendar, and because they have always had world-class athletes, but then you struggle to attract throwers and jumpers, and so you don't qualify. Wesley, let's talk about depth, Mr. Botten. In South Africa, in Botswana, in Zambia and Zimbabwe as well, many athletes on the US track and field system hail from Zimbabwe. Do we have the depth to satisfy a meet of this nature in terms of athletes in this catchment area, that we can produce a world-class event and not have some kind of swaknyana throw event or swak jump, and then we all focus on the 3,000 meters and the 100 meters. Do we have it here?
Absolutely, we have it here. And you were talking a little bit earlier about how initially when we came back from apartheid era, South Africa was very much known as sort of a middle distance, long distance running country. Did we have anything else? And I feel like Africa in general is the same, right? So people talk a lot about East Africa, even Southern Africa. For a long time, it's been about, we've got long distance runners and that's pretty much it. But I feel like African athletics is almost like the ugly cousin of global athletics, right? We kind of get sidelined a lot, and people ignore a lot of what's going on this continent and in this country.
Outside of the middle and long distance stuff.
Absolutely. And you can look at there's people like Julius Jago in the javelin throw. We've even in South Africa, we've had Sunette Viljoen, we've got Joanne Duplessis, and it goes far beyond that. We've got 400 meter hurdlers coming from Kenya. We've got sprinters coming from Nigeria. If you look at Botswana and South Africa and what we've achieved in sprinting events just alone over the last 10 years is unbelievable. It really is. And we kind of get ignored. And I think Akani is a very good example of that, right? You go into an Olympics or a world championship and people don't talk about it, right? They'll say these are the favorites for the Olympic title. But they don't talk about the guy who's reached the top 5 at 6 Olympic and World Championship events.
Paris, they finally said, can he finally break the tuck just before the Olympic?
Finally, you know, finally, he has to
After
do it
8
for 10
years.
years, right? Just to get a mention. And it's the same thing, like African athletics just kind of gets ignored. And we do have the depth, we absolutely have the depth. And obviously, because this is a silver label event, we're going to look beyond that, right? There's going to be people coming from all over the world to come and compete here. So we don't need that depth of Southern African athletics for this meeting, but we absolutely have it.
In terms of the media and the share of the media, you can talk about athletics. You say, Masudi, you love athletics. You're always going on athletics. Oh, we're so tired of hearing about running. We want to talk cricket, football, and rugby. There's a derby happening here. Well, tell me about the Springboks. How do you fight for the media share for what should be, certainly in my eyes, if I speak for myself, something celebrated across not only South Africa but the region? How do you make sure that this message gets out there and given your responsibilities here in media, that people see and understand this for how big it actually is?
This is how you do it. You know, like I've been an athletics journalist for a long time, but I'm not just an athletics journalist. You know, I work for a newspaper. I'm actually the newspaper's cricket writer. And and I love the newspaper I work
Wesley, cricket!
Don't even talk to me about cricket. We're talking about athletics. But that's what I do, right? And I love the newspaper that I work for. And I'm very grateful to have had other opportunities, including, working for Back Sports and Backtrack. But that's not my real job. My real job is working in a sport that I don't even really want to watch. And my whole career has just been trying to promote this sport that I love. And it's difficult. It's very, very difficult because, Africa's only ever had one Diamond League meeting, from one area. And it's always
Morocco,
focused. Yeah, Morocco's the only country in Africa that's ever had a Diamond League meeting. America's got so many of them. Europe has so many of them. And Africa should have more. We should have more meetings. We do have amazing events. The Golden Grand Prix in Botswana is a big event. The Kipkeino Classic in Kenya, a big event. But we don't have enough of them. We need more of these, and we need people to be able to launch events like this in order to promote athletics. It's difficult to do it when, South African sports fans are very keen on the Olympic Games. They get keen on the World Championships when guys like this are winning medals, right? But it's once every 2 years, it's once every 4 years. And outside of that, it becomes very difficult to sort of promote the sport. We have Ezekiel Simbine at the back of the room. He's got a World Athletics Challenger Tour event coming up in a few weeks, and now Akani Simbine launching this in the first season, the first time it's being held, already a silver label event. You would hope that an event like this, if they keep going, over the next few years it could become a gold label event. Ultimately, maybe it becomes a Diamond League event. And in terms of the media, the only way that you can promote it is by having events like this. So, like I'm saying, this is how you do it.
All right, thank you. Wesley Barton, well said. I think he deserves a round of applause. The young guys are snapping. That's right, I learned that one as well. Madima, what do we need to know now? Is this a closed thing? Because I heard Manus talking about schools being bussed in. Can Musibudi come with his kids and have a fabulous day? Tell us all we need to know about the event itself at the end of April.
Right, so to start off with, the event is on the 28th of April. It's open for everybody. We're going to be opening ticket sales where people can go online and buy tickets for various areas on the stadium or even on the grass embankment. So the aim is to fill up Pilditch to make sure that if you walk into that place, it must be electric. Growing up as kids, we grew up in a time maybe when athletics was dying down. My era, my 30s, by the way. So it's dying down a bit, and then when we came through as, Backtrack, Back Sports, for us it was about filling something that we heard of, we've seen videos of, but we hadn't experienced it ourselves, so being young and being able to be part of something this great, Akani Simbine being forefront saying, listen, I'm still running, still giving these youngsters problems on the track, still making these finals, but I want to contribute more than just on the track. Let's take this to outside of the track, organizing meetings, bringing the best athletes from all over the world. We saw 2 years ago, world record was broken at Pilditch. I believe this year we might see something special again. So it's not a matter of will the performances be good? That's a fact, we know they will be. It's a matter of getting people, South Africans, when the Springboks play, they all stand, we wear our clothes, sit in front of our TVs. If they're playing it in Cape Town at Greenpoint, or they're playing wherever, people pack up those stadiums. This is an opportunity now for South Africans to say, listen, we love the sport, we love athletics. The school kids can sit at the stadium, watch Zagiti get into the blocks, Akani in the blocks, and many other top runners from all over the world get into the blocks, see them, interact with them, know that these are real human beings, not just characters you see on TV. So we want to bring that connection back to
that energy, that vibe. And Manus just shook his head there when you saw world record. Madima, please, let's not anger Manus. World best. Of course, he's referring to the 300 meters that was run by Tebogo Letsile there at Buildage all those years ago at the Cura podium. Well, not all those years ago, 2 years ago. So technically, it's for one of those non-standard distances. It's not a world record, but a world best, which is why Manus is a stickler for the detail, which is why he has got this job. We don't make mistakes with times and the rest of it. So gentlemen, we look forward then to the 28th of April. It's going to be a fabulous day, Timba Madima, entertaining. I can bring the family and enjoy myself. We're bringing back the vibe. 2, Manus Hendricks, it's going to be a well-organized affair where everything is going to go as it should. We get our ranking points at a well-organized event. And 3, Wesley Barton, it's going to be one that's an opportunity for some of Africa and the world's best to shine on a continent that should become more known for more than just the middle and the long distances. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Please give them a round of applause. Then some of these coming up may have been just this high. Let's give them a round of applause as we welcome them one by one to talk to us a little bit about what it means like to be part of this wonderful event. I'll start with you, Zach. You were the captain of this team last year. Good afternoon. What does it feel like to be here, to be part of this Simbine Classic?
Good evening, all. I think this is really a great milestone. I really have to take my hat off to Akani for starting this initiative, and also the individuals that are part of the organizing committee. I think as an athlete, I've always seeked an opportunity to showcase my talents on home soil. I have a lot of people asking me when am I racing in South Africa. They always watch me on the down league circuit. And I think now just being afforded this opportunity to come out here, showcase my talent, gain some good ranking points leading up to my European season. I think it's a good meet to have, especially at the time of the year. It allows myself to set myself for the rest of the calendar year. So yeah, it's really amazing to be part of something like this.
Whenever we used to interview you, you always used to mention the importance of Akani Simbine when you were first starting to travel to Europe, as one of the guys that you used to talk to about, hey, how do I do this thing, lining up next to some of the big names? What role did he play in helping you to settle down on the very competitive European circuit?
Still very much the same right now, in every facet of my life, to be able to have a brother like him, able to go out there, ask questions, but in terms of European circuit, I think the first meet that we had was, we traveled together, was in Florence, and it was more so about I've always been competitive, running good times in South Africa, but just not being able to replicate that. And I think with him being able to tell me listen, you're able to get yourself a lane in here, and that should mean something, and it just added that extra belief that, I can come out here and compete against the rest of the world, just keep doing what you've been doing in South Africa. And that's pretty much been about it, and I think last year as well, I think that was also another pivotal moment. After running the world lead early on in the season and having a target on my back, and I need someone that's been running competing with the world lead, with that target on his back. And I'm how do I navigate through that? Stepping on the line, knowing very well that everyone wants my head, I need to replicate these performances, and I think it just allowing me to just take it day by day, take each race as it comes, and just knowing that, I'm here on the circuit and I belong here, and I think that's just that added belief that I needed, and I'm glad he was just able to share that with me.
Leendert, Well, I mean, for those who watch schools athletics, for the last 2-3 years already, you have been blowing things up. But last year, coming back from a long-term injury, you had your best year on record. What was it like now competing with these guys who were ahead of you, and then being on the same team with the likes of Akani, Wade, and some of those that you would have seen when you were just a little one? Do you remember, by the way, this is a good question to ask. How old are you? Firstly, tell us.
I'm 18 years old.
Oh, I thought you were 19. You're 18. Okay. Do you remember 2016 Rio Olympics? Or you still in nappies?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't even watch that race.
Okay, so when did you first hear about like Akani Simbine or Wade van Niekerk? Who was the first South African athlete you heard about?
I would say Wade van Niekerk. My grandma always told me I was going to be a 400 runner, and I never wanted to be one because it was too far for me. But basically, since I've been a little boy, like I've always been fast. But when I really started like to take it like seriously, I started like realizing who's on the scene, and that's why I like heard from Wade and Akani and everyone like that. Yeah.
So what was it like then? The first question, going back to it, now being in the same team as them last year.
For me, it was like a very good experience for me. My first experience overseas as well, like in an international team. Like everyone already knows, like Zach is my athletics father, so all the guys are teaching me the way it goes everywhere. So it was like quite a good learning experience for me.
And the results, I mean, were you even expecting to run? You ran a storming third leg. Did you think, no, I'll be on the bench?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I just go there and I will run. If they choose me, they choose me. If they don't, they don't. But when they do, I'll pitch up and do my thing.
Yeah, he did his thing. Give him a warm round of applause. We remember that unbelievable third leg and handing over the baton to Zach, who then took the team home. Cardio, you are now, I'll call you the elder statesman of this crew here. You've been around for quite some time, and you've kept on going. Firstly, you've watched things change a little bit. How have things changed, specifically in 400-meter running, from when you were bursting onto the scene 2018, around there, to now?
Good afternoon, everyone. As a team, I think we've made massive strides. The 400 has become more competitive, or as competitive as it can be, and I think that's just helping the relay at the end of the day. You need to fight for your spot, and if you're in the team, you need to get the job done. So I think in terms of depth, we're in a good space, and in terms of the 400, I think everyone's pulling the part, and I think we'll just go faster in the next year or two.
You've had the benefit of what Themba Madima was talking about, traveling around the world. You've been everywhere there is to go, and in a number of different South African teams, from university teams to World Championships, Olympic teams, etc. Is it difficult, as we think it is, when you have to travel abroad and compete?
I think most people just stay traveling at face value. I think there's a number of factors that comes into play, but as a team, as South Africans, we always overcome those factors and we make the best out of the situation that we're in.
Now this one here, the Simbine Classic, is going to bring together some of the very best. How do you, I mean, are you excited? You've seen this, the circuit here in South Africa change. We usually would have the SA Grand Prix events, then we have an SA Champs, and then athletes would leave en masse to Europe, those that can afford to go, and others would kind of hang around and try and find competition opportunities where they are available and get ranking points. How does this change what has been available to athletes in the past?
I think it gives the athletes another opportunity to qualify, like Themba said, based on ranking points. Another competition, another fully packed stadium. I mean, at the end of the day, we're entertainers. So we feed off the energy from the crowd. And yeah, as I said, just another opportunity to race and gather those points and prepare for the European circuit.
Last year we said, hey, Gadio, his time is coming to an end soon. And you reminded us at SA Champs that you're still there. These young guys next to you, you're your teammates or your competitors? Or both?
Both.
I gave him the back door there. Thank you, Mr. Gardio Isaacs. Lastly, Lad Pillay, World University Games, gold. World Student Games, gold. You were at the Olympics in 2024. You've been everywhere, and I think you've been one of the most loved athletes around the world, even since you were a junior. What is it like now to be part of this new initiative?
I think it's a massive, I don't think, it is a massive honor. And I mean, I've said it time and time before, I'll say it publicly, it has changed my life. In many ways I can't describe.
Yeah, it's on. Thank you, Mario.
By both inspiring me and also acting as like a nice mentor figure on and off the track. And being, sort of called up to help represent this new motion that he's creating in Southern Africa. That's a massive honor. He's a name that carries a lot of weight. And being a part of what he's trying to create and start off, I couldn't be more honored to be a part of it.
I think what Leonard was doing 2 and 3 years ago, we remember you from. I think I have a photo with you wearing your Cares kit, I don't know, under 14 or something. You were doing then, at a time when these guys was just becoming seniors, but when Wade was winning around the world. What was it like? I mean, did you always run sprints growing up in school? In primary school?
I tried everything, but yeah, sprints ultimately was the shoe that fit. But I mean, I'd say like the pivotal point that I'd say really kickstarted everything was me happening to see Wade break the world record. I knew of AK in 100, and then by chance, I remember it was a school night, I happened to just have left the TV on, and here lines up the men's 400 meter final. And then I saw, there's someone from South Africa. And I was like, we don't stand a chance. It's obviously going to the Americans and that. And then lo and behold, like, I just sat there in disbelief thinking, but how? He's South African. How did he do it? And then like in that instant, that sort of molded my mindset thinking, but he's South African. He did it. So for me, that was the one, like the very first thing I can say that did inspire that change. And then next was, getting to know guys like Gardio and Zach. I actually had the honor to see Gardio win champs at Germiston in 2019. And again, it was like, these guys are running really fast times. So like through seeing what we do back home, through seeing athletes like AK Wade, Gardio, Zach, and them do their thing, I've been inspired by that. And I've been pushing myself more and more because of that. And I think that's testament to why we are at the state we are now in terms of the depth and the level that we compete in and at as a country.
Lastly, this event takes place on the 28th of April, which is after the SA Champs. Where does it fill into your preparations? How do you attack it? How does it form part of your thinking for a very busy April for track and field?
Round 2, I guess.
That's the best answer. And then the last answer goes to the captain. Captain, are you defending your title in round 1 and then defending it again in round 2?
No, I have to. I mean, the guys need to show up. They need to show up. I'm trying to make it 4 titles and 4 national titles. And yeah, so we're gonna start there. See you in Stellies, all of you guys. Make sure preparations are going well. But yeah.
And don't forget, there is no Demi Ocon here, so 400 meter running is healthy. Gentlemen, please give a round of applause to, ladies and gentlemen, Lad Pillay, Gardio Isaacs, Leonard Kukumur, and Zagiti Nene. 10-second athlete of all time, the very first post-apartheid Olympic 100 meter finalist, and in that finalist took us in 2024 within just a hair's breadth of an Olympic bronze medal, running 9.82 for the national record. Then this is a man who holds the gold medal at 2018 Commonwealth Games, bronze medal at the World Indoors, multiple SA and African champion. Please put your hands together for Akani Simbine. AK47, let's give him a round of applause. Good afternoon, firstly. Let me not just attack you like you finished running or 100 at SA Champs and we're waiting for you there in the big zone. 2026, going strong, still running, still loving this thing called athletics. Good afternoon.
Firstly, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody watching on the stream. And thank you to you guys for being here. Thank you for showing up and letting us do this thing for athletics in South Africa. I am still hungry. I am still here. I'm still running stronger, faster than ever. So, not leaving the game yet.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that one. And the reason why I ask him is because I still have some photos. Wesley mentions, for example, Julius Yego. At the time, we had the Liquid Telecom, you remember? And Julius Yego was one of those athletes who was brought here to South Africa to compete. It was a full stadium then when Anaso Chogodwana beat Justin Gatlin over 150 meters. You were there as well. That's now 10 years ago. And AK is still here. Why? I mean, you've got a nice watch. You've done the business. Why?
I think it's just who I am. It's athletics has become part of me. It's become part of my identity, but it's not me. I love the sport and I love competing. I love racing. I love being on the stage and showing up for South Africa and always taking myself to the world and saying that, South Africa can do it. I think we go back to the video that we played here and it was guys that showed up and they showed up for the country. They won medals for the country and they stayed in the sport until they felt like they couldn't stay. And for me, I feel like I'm still going to be here for a while. I'm still enjoying the sport. I'm still enjoying running and my job's not done yet. This is a part of the career. This is a part of the story, but I still need to go out there and still show up on the track and still race, and I still have the hunger for it and I still have the enjoyment for it. And for me, it's all about that. I always say that the day that I lose the nerves when I step on the track is the day I'll leave the sport, and I haven't had that feeling yet.
Okay, you're still going strong. Now, you talk about the guys that we saw on the screen, and they left when they felt that it was their time to leave. Now, you are in a part of that generation that maybe we can call trailblazers, change makers or pathfinders, that generation of athletes who took South African track and field and specifically in a different direction, to say sprints are also part of this thing. You're doing something now that's also first. Lots of athletes would wait until they're done. Why do it whilst you're still running?
I don't know. I think for me it is important that I'm laying a lot of foundations down for when I leave the sport. And I feel like it's important that as sportsmen that we do things while we're in the sport. You can't wait for you to retire to start wanting to start a foundation, start a tournament, or start a business. Like, for me, that doesn't make sense, because when you retire, you become irrelevant.
Spot on.
And when you're still in the sport, you're still relevant. So your name still holds some sort of way for you to get into a door, so you can make a pitch to someone, and that can open a door for yourself, for later on. And that's been my mentality since I got into the sport, and it's something that I'm very grateful for having, and something that I always try to impart onto the next generation. I talk to them a lot and I tell them, guys, yes, you can run, you can make the money you want to run during running, but make sure you're putting in something that is gonna keep you alive after the running, because that's important. If you don't have that, it just doesn't look right.
So, but that means that you've got a lot of responsibilities to balance. You've got business, you've got running, you've also got family and kids. I mean, is there time to sleep?
You make time to sleep, but I think right now in this position, it's like, my mom always says to me, you're in your 30s, yes, but you still have energy. Once the energy finishes, then you won't be able to do everything that you want to do. So rather just do it now. And I'm sacrificing a lot of time for me right now, but at the same time, I'm thinking of it as an investment for when I leave the sport. I'm investing in myself, and yes, I'm shuffling a lot of, heads, and I'm partner in a business. I am still the athlete. I am doing this meet. I am doing other things as well in business. And for me, it's just me right now, and it's okay. You know, I'm handling it. It's not like it's impossible. You know, there's so many other people juggling a lot of things, so it's possible.
Okay, it's possible. Now, this meet itself, then, you're the meeting director. You're the boss of the meet. What does that entail? I mean, are you doing anything, or you're going to come on race day to hand out medals? Or are you running even on race day? Tell us more.
I will be running. Yes, I'm the meet director of the meet, but I need everybody to understand that this meet is not about Akane. It's not about me. It's not about my surname. It's not about the logo. You know, it's about them and the future of South African athletics and what I'm trying to build here in South Africa. You know, it's all about making sure that South Africa has a continental tour meet or an athletics meet that is run here in South Africa.
Of the highest level.
Yeah, of the highest level, definitely, you know, and it's important. You know, I've been on the circuit for 10 plus years now, and I've never had I've had my family come watch me overseas, but we've always wanted them to watch me here, but running against the guys I run against that side. And I think for me, that's been such an important thing. And since 2017, when the Liquor Telecom thing happened, it's been an idea that played in my head, you know, like, why do we not have these guys coming to run in South Africa? Yes, South Africa's far, but they will fly to run in South Africa, you know? So, yeah, man, I think that's the whole idea, man. It's just so that we can uplift South African athletics, make sure South African athletics is seen, it's acknowledged, the athletes are seen, the athletes are supported, you know, and that the athletes can actually show their talent, not just on TV, but here at home with their families, watching them in the stands, with their supporters watching them in the stands. And that drives them, you know, that will drive the athletes to want to be better, to want to do better. And once they leave here after running on the 28th, they have another confidence saying, you know, I did it in front of my family, and my family saw me, and that's
I did in front of my family against the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's filling for them, you know, and once you have that filled, you're able to go to the world and say, okay, you know, my family filled me, and now I'm ready to take on the world and show them I'm better than them.
Let's talk about the world. Getting big name athletes requires contacts and big budgets. Have we got the confidence that we'll be able to attract some of the names that have become household names around the world in track and field?
Yes, I'm using my friend contract. So I have a lot of friends on the circuit. Speaking to a lot of guys that are interested in coming. It also helps that the World Relays is a week after. So a lot of the guys are going to be based in South Africa. So that's the whole clique, you know.
True. A lot of them, Poch and Stellenbosch, that's where they train.
100%,
Yeah.
and they're going to look for a race. And we wanted to be that race. You know, the race where you guys look for a race to just prep before World Relays and come and do it here, you know. And there are guys that we've been speaking to. We'll announce it soon on socials and with media. And yeah, it's going to be really good. It's going to be a world-class event. Like, trust me.
Okay, for the benefit of the media, please give the media first, just 1 hour before the socials, and otherwise you don't run your story. Okay, and so there we go, the 28th, you're going to get the best. We have a wonderful opportunity to compete, and we try and make the atmosphere one of those atmospheres that we see when we watch TV, or for those of us that we experience when we watch schools athletics, which is very much alive. What have you learned from those 10 years on the circuit that you can bring back and say, hey, we haven't been doing this? Or what do you think that we have that's uniquely South African, given that you've been involved in a lot of different meets like the Cura Podium, for example, and the Simbine Classic Shootout, that we can take to the world so that when guys come here, we can say, this is the uniquely South African experience at a world-class level?
I think the most important thing to say is that the diversity. You know, we have a lot of diversity in South Africa, and we have our culture, we have the land. South Africa is such a beautiful place, and it breeds so much success. And especially in athletics, the reason for doing this meet is to showcase that to the world, but showcase it so that the guys from here are able to show the world that this is where we live, this is where we train, this is how we do it. And when you see how we do it, you'll appreciate why it's so important for us when we come that side. And I think it's just important to show that we don't just do things alone. You know, as South Africans, we are a team. Yes, in athletics, it's an individual sport and everything, but we're a team. Like the guys were talking about, yes, they have rivalries, they're competitors, but at the same time, there's a brotherlyhood between them. We share experiences between each other, and that's important. And for me, it's just making sure that the guys are able to see that and experience the beauty of our land and experience the beauty of our country and the diverseness of our country and how we do things in South Africa, not just what they think South Africa is like, you know, but come to South Africa and see how it is here and the beauty of it here.
Yeah, I think that's very true, especially given global dynamics at the moment. So, lastly, I guess this is a statement more than a question. When you say it's not about Simbine, it's about the athletes, I believe you, because I thought, hey, this guy's organizing a meet. It's going to be 100 and 200 all the way. And then I see, hey, 3,000. There's a 3,000 there as well. You know, throws and jumps, as Manus mentioned. How have you decided on the program, which also includes a 4x400 meter relay? Ladies and gentlemen, on the list in front of you, the last event, apologies for that, it's not 4x100, it's a 4x400. So these gentlemen that we saw up front, it's a 4x400. How did you decide on the events that will form part of the Simbine Classic?
I think we need to just touch back on actually the team. You know, the team, we actually sat down and decided, okay, the guys are going to be here for 4x1, well, for relays. You know, so how can we build a meet around the athletes that are actually going to be in South Africa? You know, and we thought, okay, we can make it a sprinting event and just have sprints in it, but it was important that we bring in a distance. It was important that we bring in the 800. It was important that we bring in the javelin. You know, we don't just have sprinting. We don't just have distance. We also have throwing. We have jumping, and it's important to show that. And we sat as a team and we decided on that, and that's how we got to it. You know, and I think it's a good time to actually mention like the actual team that's behind this thing. It's not just me. You know,
please do, especially your guys here, some of them who are making sure that the stream is going out and work all over the place, the guys at Bank Sports.
I think it's important to actually just make sure that we mention them, you know. We'll put them up on here. We have Capitalized Media, that's Calvin Watts, you know, Avele and Fansale, and they are the guys that are in charge of making sure, you know, with the sponsors, making sure that we're working with the sponsors, getting the sponsors. We have Back Sports, which is, everybody knows, is our broadcasting company, our producing company, and that's where we produce the content. Whatever you see on TV, it's us, camera guys. We have next the team. This is Manus. You know, Manus is Mr. Athletics. He's Mr. You know, results. You know, if you have Manus at your event, you know you're going to get your results, and the results are going to be the true thing. You know, and that's something Manus has been like strong with. I think since I started athletics, Manus has been there.
Yep.
And I've seen the growth in him, even though he's older than me. I've seen how his business has grown, how he's improved, and it was important to get him in because he knows how to run a competition from A to Z. You know, 100%. So that's him. And then next we have AJ Stones. This is Aubrey and his team, and they are in charge of making sure that we are legally covered 100%, and they're making sure that we are contracting 120 athletes to run here, and that's a lot.
Huge task, correct.
That's a huge task, you know. So that's them. And I think lastly we have Motion Sport. Motion Sports are the guys that make all of this possible, you know. Screen behind us, the sound, everything. You know, Ruben and his team have been super successful, and they bring quality to the meet. So this is the type of quality that we're trying to get at the meet and make sure that we are giving to the world. You know, I've always been a person of, we need to make sure we give a quality product, even at Back Sports. Make sure we give a quality product so that we can show people we actually do good things, not just cheap, not just substandard, but it's quality.
Amen. So I think maybe we just mention some of those briefly for the benefit of the media. The contracting. So for meets of this standard, you don't call an athlete and say, hey, please come and run at my meet. It is a contractual obligation so that you can use them as well to promote the event and say AK is going to be running. And so 120 is a lot, and you need that legal expertise to make sure that every I is dotted and T is crossed. We've seen the success. You mentioned Calvin Watt and his team, and they've had with super sports schools, for example, and many others. So they will obviously assist you in terms of making sure you have the commercial might to make a success of this. And then like this screen here behind me, and all of the fanfare and cheerleaders and what. If you go to Potchefstroom, let's say for Varsity Cup, and you see all the big fanfare, that's the motion sport guys putting together some really quality events, and that's Ruben and his team for just to explain to the media. So you've got a world-class team, and you're ready to deliver.
Yeah, we're ready to deliver, and we've also got sponsors on board.
The sponsors, I'll leave that moment to you, AK. I'll leave that moment to you. For now, I think let me step aside, and let's give this man here a very warm round of applause.
We're here at the launch of the meet for Akani, and I think you came here to support one of your closest friends. Just what's your words of encouragement to him on this journey?
I think what he's doing for the sport is amazing, for South African athletics in general. He's actually trying something, promoting the athletes, giving them another platform to perform. So I can only wish him the best, and I hope it's a great success at the end of the day. I know it will be a great success.
But like looking in hindsight, how far have you had to travel, and how often to get this kind of exposure?
It's a silver meet at the end of the day. I think we only have 2 gold meets in South Africa and 1 diamond league. Not in South Africa, in Africa, and 1 diamond league. So we anyway needed to travel far for those meets, and to have one on South African soil in front of a home crowd is amazing, and it's just something we can use in preparation for the European circuit.
And how do you feel whereby you're going to participate on your home soil? And
like I said, at the end of the day, we're competitors, we're entertainers, we love the crowd, and we can feed off the energy from the crowd. So it's always nice having a crowd there to support us, and just being on home soil, having our family support us, watching us compete against the top athletes in the world is an amazing opportunity.
And what can you look for on the day? Are you competing? Yeah,
we'll have to see. But hopefully, I'll be in the starting block at the Simbine Classic. So yeah, it's something to look forward to.
Thank you for your time, and all the best.
Thank you.
Hope to see you there.
Thank you.
We've got live at Pile live. We're here at the launch of this Simbine Classic. How are you feeling, man? Guy that you ran with, you've shared a world stage with, bringing that type of event home.
I'm truly excited, and AK, he's pretty much been a pioneer for all of us. He's served as a massive trailblazer on track, but now he's pioneering a massive feat off the track. So I think for all of us, seeing what he's doing, yet again, he's giving us opportunity. And from my end, I'm inspired to try create opportunity where I can through, my similar to how AK has done so. So it's a massive milestone. It's not. Running a race is honestly it's easy, but organizing a meet is impressive. So AK has definitely outdone himself with this one.
He's organizing, and he's even is going to participate.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. But we need more of this as a country. What can you say about that? How far have you had to travel to qualify for this kind of competitions?
No, I think, like Mr. White said, most of the events being in Europe and America does place us at a disadvantage, and there's no shortage of talent or potential in Africa. So I think what AK is doing isn't just big for us as South African athletes, but for the African continent. And I think him being a present athlete who's still going to compete in his own event, now him creating this event will show other countries, other federations that, listen, it's possible to arrange these meets. Not only, is it possible to arrange? It's possible for us as athletes to also be a part of this motion. So, I mean, what AK is doing with this meet, it's extremely impactful.
And to fellow South Africans, what can you say about this opportunity? I mean, in terms of even if your child is not participating or you're not participating yourself, but in terms of exposing our South African people to this kind of things, what's the significance there?
I mean, we see Diamond Leagues on TV. We see, some of the best of the world line up at a race, and we very seldom have that chance to see it back home. Now, we're fortunate that, we have a generation of athletes that are competitive and we compete back home. But now we get to show the world what we can do on our doorstep in front of our home crowd. And I think it'll also, create a new level of understanding and respect for the sport. Having our fellow, countrymen seeing us perform against the best in the world on our doorstep, it'll show the world that we actually are up there. We're not, punting for the top positions. We are among the top positions. So I think, it'll be a very enlightening event for South Africa to see on their doorstep.
And on the day, should we expect to see you on the track, or you're going to be with us on the grandstand?
Maybe not. We'll have to find out.
Thank you for your time, and all the best in the season.
Thank you so much.
We've got Akani Simbine, the man of the moment. Say congratulations on what you have done here today. Just give us background as to what informed you to start this or to venture into this route.
I think this is not about me. It's always been about athletics and Athletics South Africa. For me, it's been about making sure that athletics in South Africa grows, and in whatever way and form that I can help it in, I want to be a part of it. And starting this meet and being a part of this meet, I think that has been one of the things that I wanted to do, and just make sure we are setting ourselves up to actually be in the right trajectory with the world. We can't be doing things in isolation and just saying, we're at the bottom of the world. South Africa is far for everybody to travel. We've never tried it. Let's actually try it and see, and actually have the world come to us, have athletes not have to leave South Africa to get world ranking points. And now we have it, and grateful to World Athletics for giving us this opportunity, and everybody the sponsors that have been on board. It's been amazing, just the support that we've been getting.
In hindsight, you have been there, you're 10 years in this, and I think you've seen a gap and you've decided to seize the moment to close the gap. How important is this for our South African athletes?
Athletics has a lot of gaps. That's the thing. Since the broadcasting, that's why the back sports came about. It was making sure that we are showing athletics on TV, so more people, more eyes on it, to the athletes being promoted. There's always a gap, and now there was a gap. There was no World Athletics competition that is run here where the athletes can get points. And that was important, because I also don't want to have to always leave to go get world ranking points. And I'm sure the other athletes will feel the same. So why don't we have a meet that is at that standard here in South Africa, so the athletes can earn the money that we earn overseas, can race here for world ranking points, to qualify for world championships, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, and just put themselves in a better standing with the world.
Just for an ordinary somebody like me who is still learning, how far have you had to travel to be where you are today?
All over the world.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in order to qualify, how many times have you had to travel?
I travel every year. You have to leave. I leave the country for half the year to go that side to actually be on tour, and it would be beneficial for us to actually have competitions here in South Africa, be able to do that here in South Africa and gain points that we don't have to leave. We can stay here, prepare here, be with our families, eat our own food, sleep in our beds, and run competitions here and be comfortable and be able to run comfortably.
And I saw Ezekiel Zipeng is venturing into the same space as you are, although offering a different taste of what you're offering. Did you guys maybe talk about this, or was it this coincidental?
I think we knew what we were both trying to achieve. Ezekiel comes from a distance background, I come from a sprinting background. So it balances out. It balances out not just having everybody from all distances at one meet, and then next weekend everybody at the other distance with every meet. So now we've spread the athletes, we've spread the potential, we've spread it, and we know what we're focusing on. Ezekiel knows what they're focusing on. Captain Miles knows what they're focusing on, and it gives us a whole round of athletics in the country.
On the 28th of April, where the main event will be taking place, what should South Africans look out for, and what should they do? Because at times you say, "Now I'll watch it on TV," those kind of things. What's your message of encouragement to everyone?
Everybody should come out and watch what it's like to run in a world athletics stage, at that quality, what it feels like. But our meet is not just going to be a meet where we just show up, we run and we leave. It's more about the fan space, what the fan experiences, how the fan experiences athletics, how the fan experiences what is going to happen at the day. It's not just them going to be watching athletics. It's going to be entertainment happening, and it's going to be an exciting day, not just a day of just go watch athletics and then you go home and then that's all you can say. Athletics should be the last thing you talk about. It should be what happened in between and an entertainment that has been there and everything that is being put together to make that whole system run, and then you can talk about athletics, and then you say, okay, they still ran, they did this, remember they did this, that should be the last thing. But that's what I'm saying to the people. That's going to be a different type of meet, more exciting, more energetic, full day meet that includes everyone, from kids to guys that are trying to come up in athletics, to seniors that are trying to make their cut into the elite side, to the elite program. It's a full day of athletics covering all ages from 7 to us, and looking forward to it. And yeah, you'll see that, and it's going to be a great day.
And I think you forgot to mention something. They should come and see you as well, participating.
Yeah, I'll be racing on the day, but it's also, as I said, man, it's not about me. It's about the South African athletes. It's about showcasing South African athletes in South Africa at a world stage.
A giant leap, and congratulations and all the best in that upcoming event.
Thank you very much, sir.
Later.
Sure.